What up, y'all? Welcome to the Willamette Block Party, where we share all things Black within the Willamette Valley. This podcast is hosted by xinyourface.com, Ali Saunders, and Ray White. We're super juiced to have Arjay Mendiola on the podcast today as he shares a bit about his real estate agent journey, some of the best kept secrets in the Willamette Valley, his marketing adventures, as well as what makes Salem home for him and for others in his community. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe the Willamette Block Party on your favorite social media app, as well as give us a 5-star rating and a review of the podcast too. Now, without further ado, let's listen to this episode and dive into RJ's story here in the Willamette Valley.
Okay, so you said you've been in Salem for how long?
Like since 2009. Okay. So it's a little over 16.
Yeah. What brought you to Salem?
So my dad actually got laid off during the 08 crash, and the same company offered him a different position over here. And so it was kind of just like, at that point, it was like, yeah, you know, there's not really any other options. So he moved out here, and then we moved out a year after, and then it kind of just been here ever since. But I actually moved to Texas in 2021 because I was like, yo, Salem kind of dry, bro. Salem kind of dry.
Look.
There ain't a drop of color out here. I had to leave.
Now you got this. What y'all call yourself? Texans? Y'all Texans all hyped up. Yeah, okay.
Once you live there for a little bit, it's like ingrained in your blood.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, we've already been planning how we're gonna move back because I was just like, okay, bro, we gotta lock this in. We gotta figure out what's the next move, because we, unfortunately, when we moved there, it kind of fell apart a little bit. But I was only 20, so I'd never even moved. It was just that rasted, let's just leave, let's just go. And so now that we came back and kind of okay, we've gotten kind of career on lock, we're we have a chance to move. Yeah. Let's go back to Texas, give it a real chance.
So that's interesting. So obviously being here from Idaho, because of family situations and whatnot, so you come, you hang out. I imagine you graduated from here, high school or high school and stuff like that, and then you're like, no, I'm out, I'm dipping out. What are some of the lessons that you probably learned living in a different state that brought you back here? What were some of the lessons in that?
I think one of the big ones would be that don't discount the people who are actually there to support you, because I think a lot of the reason I left was well, no one supports me here, so I'm just going to leave. No one's going to miss me. Until you get out somewhere where really nobody knows you, and you're like, oh, shoot. I could actually rely on some of those people back home and be like, hey, could you help a brother out? So that was one big one. But I think on the positive spectrum, that didn't necessarily bring me back, but was a big lesson, was that don't underestimate how capable you are. Because I think we drove all the way to Texas from here, so it was a 4-day drive. And I think because I took my fiance, our dog, and her sister, and so obviously being the man, it was shoot, I gotta make sure everything's dialed. I'm basically leading the pack out here, and I think that really showed me how capable I was at that moment, because it's I never even drove farther than Seattle before that. And so to go all the way day and night cross country into places we never knew, make sure all the hotels are on lock, everything like that.
Different.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But it definitely, I think, coming back made me realize that, there's nothing that could ever stop me from doing anything. Because, I always compare that, too. Whenever I'm, struggling, I'm you know what? I drove all the way to Texas at 20. There's nothing worse than that, really.
Yo, that's a big lesson at 20.
Yeah.
Man. We're not going to talk about me at 20.
It's a big thing. It's driving down there. It's not a small track. I did the same thing, and it really was just you got to figure out where you're stopping, where you're going. You're driving across the entire country, basically.
Yeah.
And it's especially in 4 days, that's quick. I took my time.
Well, see, here's where I messed up. This is one of the lessons I learned as we've been learning how to travel and stuff, is that I booked all our hotels ahead of time. I was I got the hotels. We're good. Yeah, well, we stopped so many times. I was guys, we're going to the next day. We got to get there, or otherwise our hotel's gone. Yeah. So it was okay, lesson learned. Let's just wait till we get a little close to cities. Then we call and see. I don't know why. I just thought in my head, there's not going to be any hotels left. What if there's no rooms? And I think that's something that I thought, but I realized That doesn't make sense. Like,
Right.
Like,
in
you whip out your
hindsight.
camping equipment. You better just.
Yeah, there you go. We just take a nap on the side of the road and keep driving.
Ain't nobody camping. Ain't nobody camping.
I did it.
Oh, that's right. You
I
you
did
the
it.
outdoorsy one. That's
I
right.
did it because it was like we were out in the middle of nowhere. It was like
Yeah.
on a drive up to Oregon from
Yeah.
Houston. And that one, yeah, we were, I don't even remember where we were, but we were like, one, we're almost out of gas. Two, it's in the middle of the night. What are we about to do? And so we literally just pulled over into like a little dispersed camping area and just like, all right, let's get some rest and figure it out tomorrow.
Jeez, that's too brave. I'm not that bold.
We ain't doing that.
No.
Nope. We ain't doing that. Props to you, though.
I watch too much true crime. I'm like, nah, bro.
Sit in, this is how it's
This is how it ends. It's always us who go first. Like, you know it too.
You know that's true. Golly. So then, the trek back to Salem, bringing new lessons. There's community. There's opportunities here. I know real estate wasn't the only thing that you've been doing. I listened to a few of your things. Actually, the Easy Flow interview that you just recently did. One, the first question was how have you recovered from the hot ones take that you were doing? What were you eating, by the way?
Crazy, bro. I don't know. He just whips out this Amazon box of hot sauce. I was like, what is? I was like. He's like, yeah, so this one is like supreme, super hot. We're just going to go this way. And I don't, like, it's funny. I'm married to or engaged to a Latina, but I don't like spicy food. Like, I was adopted. I grew up with white people. Like, bro, pepper is spicy. That's it. That's my limit. So I literally was like, yo.
That's wild.
Thought about this.
It's too hot. It's too hot.
Too hot, yeah.
Oh, man, that's funny. But real estate wasn't the only thing. I think you mentioned some other entrepreneurial ventures. Like, what are... And y'all started off this conversation talking about real estate. So how do you get into real estate? Like, why has that become the vehicle now that you are saying, you know what, I think I can utilize these lessons into the space? Yeah.
Well, it started like... I think I've always had like a knack for business. So I floated in and out of charter school to public schools. And so in the charter schools, they always had like higher level learning. And so we always did like little entrepreneurship stuff. And I, had lemonade stands, all that stuff. But I think getting into middle school, I ran track and field. And so I won a couple state championships. I got a Division I scholarship out at Montana State. And so in that moment, all I cared about was track and field. Like, that's my dream. Like, I'm going to be a Nike athlete. It's a sealed deal. I made it. I'm only 18. We're good. Well, then, COVID happened, and that kind of put a whole wrench in the mix. So then I was like, well, if I can't, like, run, like, I don't know. I kind of didn't really – I did good in school, but not, like, anything significant. So I was just like, I don't really got anything else to offer, so I better figure something else out. And I think that really taught me that, like, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, because in a split second it can all change. So in 2020 during COVID, I started just doing like random little stuff. Like I did the Forex trading, all the like stereotypical like entrepreneur stuff, drop shipping. But then I was like, I really do like business. I just don't know like if I have the right machine. And so during like I think it was late 2021, I've been working at Dutch Bros at that point since 2020. And I kind of just was like, I don't really want to do this forever. Like, I don't know, should I go back to school? Like, obviously the world's still shut down. No one really knows what's going on, but I've always kind of been in the boat. It's like, I don't really like wait for stuff to come to me. Like, I'm gonna just go get it, because waiting takes way too long, And so I just was like, I don't know what to do. So my aunt, though, she does real estate down in California, and she's the one who kind of like floated the bug in my ear. Was like, why don't you just do real estate? Like, it's super easy. And in my head, I was like, real estate's like for old people, though. Like, really? There's no way. Like, I'm like a child, though. I don't even know anything about it. And she's like, it's so easy, like super low barrier. You just have to have high school degree, be 18, pass a test. So I was like, all right, well, it kind of seems like the easiest thing I can do right now since I don't have a degree. So I know I'm going to go back to school because I really want to graduate from college. But I just was like, I don't know, I've never put myself through licensing, and I kind of just wanted to do it and see if I could just do it. It was kind of one of those things, is like, I'm not really looking for the future. I just want to see if I can pass this test and then prove to myself. And so then I passed it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I kind of have to, like, try, move forward. I didn't think I was getting this far. So then I just got into it, and I think so. I got into it in 2022, And then I actually quit like 8 months later. I didn't sell a single house. I was like, yeah, nah, like this is definitely exactly what I thought it was going to be. This is not there. At that time, there really was not any. I think the youngest person I met was like 35. Like there was like no one even close. And like they always say, like the number one customer is going to be people around you. Well, people around me are like 20 years old. They're not going to buy a house, especially in 2020 or 2022. So I just was like, I'm just going back to Dutch Bros. And I also at that time got into like a head-on collision accident. So that really just kind of was like, I don't have a car. I don't have anything. I'm just going back to Dutch Bros. Yeah. But it really kind of just was one of those things that was like, I'm just going to do it just to do it. I don't know. Didn't really have a plan. But the second trip around the sun kind of really changed perspective now that I did some other things. So I built a cleaning business, I built a couple clothing brands with some friends. And then getting back into real estate, it really made me think was like, could I leave an impact? I think that was the big thing. One of the clothing lines I was helping build, we were all about impact. How do you build? How do you make a difference? And I think that started making me ask that internal question is like, how do I make a difference in real estate? Like it's all the same. Everybody talks about the realtors are the same, process is the same. Like how do I put something different in the mix? And so I really just started looking at like, where's the gap? Like, can I fill a gap? And I think for me, it's first time home buyers is like, that's where the biggest gap is. Like there's affordability issues, there's education issues, and it's just like, seems like such a far off goal. And so I kind of just like deemed it my goal is like, how do I like take that super far away goal and make it a way shorter process for people and start bringing more success. So kind of started off as just I didn't really know what I was doing, but now I feel like I've set out with a mission. Yeah. Sorry, a long-winded answer.
No, that's dope.
Honestly, it takes a while. Like I completely am like sympathize with the right after like high school and trying to figure out like your identity. You're trying to figure out who you are and stuff. Because I ran track and field too. Went to school and did that, but I like what students had to deal with COVID. And during that would have completely derailed me because that's your identity. Your identity was a student athlete, and that's where you were chained to, forever. And when that's gone, like when I stopped, it really was like, okay, like, who am I? What do I do? I like that's not what I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm still an athlete.
We still athletes.
But
So,
no, for real. I'm still an athlete.
No, but it is one of those things where it's like, okay, like where is like, okay, what do I put all my passion towards? Where do I put, all my competitiveness? Where does that go in like a healthy outlet? So I completely understand. It's hard trying to figure that out, and you do have to kind of go down some trials and some lessons of like, let's see if it works, let's see if it sticks, let's see if it doesn't. So
I think what I heard in your kind of the journey, even getting back into real estate or sticking with it more so, you found a gap where you can fill. I really, really appreciate that language because that's a lot of how a lot of us find our opportunities, right? We go through those periods of like, there's a big wide world out there, a big industry. How do I fit? What do I do? And then get discouraged. But then as you keep finding ways of understanding your own identity, you then find opportunities to fill those voids and needs to then find success of your own, right? I know Keys to Clarity is one of your endeavors in that space that you're really finding that need to help first-time home buyers in this space. Tell us a little bit more about, okay, where did that name come from? Why this area? What success have you found so far?
I mean, I think one of the big things they talk about in business, you be successful, you always got to step in the shoes of the consumer. And I myself am a first-time home buyer. And so with like growing up with my fiance, like I live with her now and I live with her for 5 years, is they're all first-time home buyers. And we talked about like, what's the next steps for buying a house? And I just realized just having that casual conversation, how much we didn't know. And I was like, and I'm in the industry. I was like, I feel like I should know this stuff. So I started looking and diving deeper. I was like, well, maybe just like there's a lot out there and we just don't know. But until I started doing research, I was like, there's nothing. Like I pulled up, I was thinking about having like a home buyer conference, right? Like, you think about, you go to a panel, ask questions at any other event. I was like, well, there's got to be something for first-time home buyers. Well, I pull up one. It was from 2023, and it's like Georgia. I was like, this ain't even Oregon, bro. What the heck? So then I started doing like more digging, and there just isn't. Like the only thing you hear about, use the first-time home buyer program. When you start digging, it's just like, what a first-time home buyer program? Like there may be one or two, but like no one's really talking about those one or two. And so I was like, okay, well, and I did some research too. I was like, it's like what, 30% of the market is like first time home buyers. So I was like, okay, so you got like a quarter of the market is these first time home buyers that don't know how to buy a house, and there's nothing even helping them buy a house. Like how? And so that was where it started. And then I kind of like, I got really bad ADHD, so everything just turns into a big rabbit hole. And so then I was just like, 3 a.m. just deep on the TikTok. I was like, bro, I'm about to solve world peace right now, bro. But no, so there is that. And then keys of clarity, like, not gonna lie, me and ChatGPT like this, bro. So I was just like, yo, chat, give me some ideas. This is what I'm thinking. And so it was cooking. And so that one, I kind of picked out 3, and I don't even remember the other 2, but I asked my friend who's in marketing. I was like, all right, if you were going to look at these, what would be like the first thing you would think of? And I was hoping that he'd be like, oh, you know, like this reminds me of like houses. And so that was the one. I was like, perfect. So I took that, and then I've kind of just, it started off as like a small seed. Like I was just going to build the business around me. But then I think like my long-term goals is I don't really want a business built on me, because if I step away, then the whole business falls too. And so I'm trying to like build something that was something I could push out here and I could be over here. And so I instead pivoted and was like, okay, instead of building a platform just based off of my knowledge, can I build a platform that other agents can use to then help first-time home buyers that they specialize in? Because there's not just one person that will specialize in first-time home buying. And so I'm like, I'm one guy, or I could share the wealth and take 10 people and reach an even bigger net. And so that's where my mindset's always been, is that I don't need all the wealth in the world. Like, if I'm going to share it and it's going to help more people, then that's what I'm going to do. And so right now, really what it is just building a platform of first-time homebuyer knowledge and empowerment. And so it's just giving those people that confidence back that, like, you can buy a house, even in a world where it seems like it's crumbling around you. You're not going to buy a house till you're 40. Like, there's ways. Because there's first-time homebuyers out here right now. They're buying houses every day. And it's just like, and they're doing it without the tools. So it's like, if I gave you tools and resources, don't you think that'd help you a little bit more? And I always use, like, what the reference is, like, you know, if you're going to go play a football game, you never played football before, like, you wouldn't start learning how to play football that same day. Like, you would do preparation, you would practice. And so it's like the same with home buying. I think a lot of home buyers think, well, I'm not ready to buy a house, so I'm not even going to think about it. But instead it's like, I'm not ready to buy a house, where should I start? So that I can start getting ready. Because it's like 2 years, 3 years will pass either way. I'd rather spend 2-3 years learning slowly and then be prepared maybe even sooner than I think. So that's kind of what I've just built that platform. And, like, gonna have like an official launch in January. Been kind of planning that out. But I built like an app to help home buyers and built website resources and just connecting with other people in the community that already have those resources. I think filling the gap is not just taking everything I know, but it's finding all the resources that are out there and just kind of compiling them into one stop shop for people, just to make it simple and easy. And I think that's where, like, the value comes in as a realtor. It's like, obviously if the person over here has all these resources, it's a no-brainer to use them. So
that's dope.
Do you feel like there's a barrier with first-time home buyers of not necessarily like the education part, but just the fear? I think I've seen it a lot where it's more so they go based off of certain circumstance that their parents have told them, that their uncles, that family has told them, you need 20% down, you need perfect credit, you need all of this kind of stuff. So they have that stuck in their head of like, okay, because I don't have that, the fear of even going and talking to someone or looking it up and potentially being told no, or being told, like, I think with millennials, Gen Z, like kind of our age, it is a hard thing of that rejection of being like, hey, this is actually what you need to work on to get there. And so do you think that is a big thing that's kind of popped up, especially after COVID and stuff too, where I'm like, you know, that affected quite a bit of people and like their homes, and they don't know, like, okay, I started a new job, I've only been here for this, would it qualify for certain things?
No, absolutely. And I think when you really take your own life and kind of take that step back. Like, I'm a big believer in God and him intertwining his divineness. Is that so being adopted, like, I dealt with a lot of that fear of abandonment and rejection issues as it was. And I think me taking that I've gone through was like, okay, how do I appeal to these people's sense of rejection, and how to like kind of erase that? And so for me, a lot of it was like, well, step one is like, I'm not going to dress all fancy, because it's like already that's standoffish. Like, oh shoot, this guy, he worth money. I'm not worth anything. I'm not going to talk to him. But then two, it became more of like, I'm going to come across as a friend and not necessarily your realtor, you know, and that's why a lot of times when I step into rooms and people, you know, a lot of them will lead with their business, what they do, all this stuff, right? Is like, I never really lead with I'm a realtor. I just lead as like, no, you know, I just like to teach people how to do things. And because that also comes across more, like, lowers those senses of like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this guy's cool. I can just talk to him. But I think a lot of it really comes down to is facts and data. Like, I know me is like, I'll have a fear, but if I see a fact and statistic of it, I'm like, okay, that kind of erases the fear. It's like, how can I deny? So I think a lot of what I had to do is compile like facts of based off down payments. Like, oh, you know, like the average down payment is actually less than $10,000 like across America. So it's like, if you can't bring 10,000, you're in the average pool, so you're good. And I think it's just building that trusted team around myself, because I think, yes, like, I'm one person, but when you have 4 or 5 people who kind of relate the same what you want to do, and it fits perfectly, and you have that team, I think it seems like I'm in good hands. Okay, I've got all these people around me, building people a support system that they can't build for themselves. And so I think that's really what helped with that fear. But of course, you're still going to have, you know, a lot of people are like, well, I'm scared to, like, what if I don't have enough money? And so part of my, like, base is that instead of even saying, let's start here, how do you buy a house? It's like, okay, how far back do I need to go to teach you? You don't even know how to save $1. Okay, so then before we even talk about houses, let's go sit down with these financial advisors and let's just even talk about how do you save money? Because that's something I always struggled with. And I struggle with credit too. Like, my credit history is terrible. And so it was like, can I just meet these people where they're at and skip over the house language? Like, we don't even got to go there if that's not where you're at. Let's just go where you're at. Like, you know, let's learn about credit. Let's learn about saving money. Let's learn about down payments, and just start building that step-by-step success plan that's kind of just really situational, which I think that's where a lot of realtors kind of lose, is that they go off of the come to me when you're ready instead of let me take the time to sit down and really figure out what you need specifically.
Just being a resource.
Yeah. And I imagine that builds so much trust. And like you said, you always have relatability in, because you're like, hey, I've been there, or I know exactly what you're going through, or here's some, like you said, statistics that kind of help navigate that to ease that burden and tension. But then if you're walking with somebody along the way, they're like, okay, yeah, RJ's gonna hook me up because he's been with me from the beginning. He knows my goals, my outcomes. He knows even some of the pitfalls that I have, and he's directed me to the right people to help, you know, push that success. So why not? You know, why not continue to lean on RJ to help me with the next step, right? So, like you said, I think that is a missing gap in a lot of industries where people who have the knowledge or who have the resources may not necessarily take the time to build that relationship. And I appreciate that is one of your core values and a mission, is like, you want to build a relationship with this person because it's a holistic thing. It's not just you're coming to me to buy a house, right? It's bigger than that. So that's dope.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, it's like, you look at like generational wealth, what that actually means, or how many people even know what that means. You know, a lot of them think, oh, it's like, I got $1 million in the bank, but it's like, no, generational wealth is having an asset you can just pass down generation to generation. And I think, like, my fiance, even just talking to her about, like, their dad was very smart. He bought 2 houses, and one house is going to obviously get passed down to each of the siblings, right? And so just me explaining to her, I was like, you don't understand, like, the severity of, like, how grateful you should be, because, like, my parents didn't do that. They don't. They got one house that's tied to them, and it's on a loan. They don't even have it paid off. And so to be able to kind of explain that to her and walk her through is like, no, like, your dad did a really good job. You guys have generational wealth. This asset that's owned free and clear, like, you hang on to that. Don't let go of
Right.
it. And to teach people that, like, when you buy a house, you're not just buying a building with four walls. You're building something that could carry on for generations, that could in turn then produce more avenues for people to have success. Like, you can use your equity to pay for college. You can use your equity, buy a car, buy another house. Like, you can use that equity for pretty much anything you want, or to level up and continue to get bigger houses if you really wanted. And so I think that's also a missing piece when it comes to education, is that a lot of people come into buying a house as like, well, I'm just buying a house because it's like that's the American dream. But it's just like, actually, like, you're building a tool that's going to open 1,000,000 doors for your future.
That's dope. Keys to Clarity podcast coming soon.
Yeah.
So both of y'all are real estate agents, which I appreciate because, I'm learning a lot of things, and connecting with Ali as well, learning a lot of things as well. But what do you see, or what city is the best kept secret? If somebody was like, yo, I'm coming to Oregon. I know both of y'all service the Willamette Valley. She's trying to get me to move to Bend. So
I say Bend is one of them, honestly.
But no, that is secret. Like, Bend is one of those where it's like literally the number one retiree
You're right.
place.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I will say for just like Salem, Kaiser area and staying regionally, like to this location, would be like Monmouth and Independence. I think that's been passed over quite a bit. And even Silverton, I think people kind of miss out on those areas quite a bit. Affordability wise, I think it's more affordable than Salem, and taxes are lower. But I think people like kind of zoom past it just because of how it's not in the big city.
Yeah.
And Salem's not a big city.
Salem's not a big
Damn, I ain't
city.
even respect.
Look, I'm like, where's my like 20th level like sky tower? Like, I want to look up to be able to see the sky.
Same.
I'm like, here, I'm in my quaint
Straight ahead.
right there.
I see
You want to see the
top of
mountain.
that, right?
I think I think Albany is one of the big ones too. Like, for a while, I think just the entire Willamette Valley was just very stagnant. Like, there really was not a lot of growth. And I think with this rapid expansion of Salem, Silverton, Independence, like, Albany has honestly started to tick up. Like, there's been a lot more going on down there, and it's only 20 minutes from here. Like, a lot of people think it's like, oh, Albany's so far. It is literally 20 minutes.
Not far.
Dude, it's closer than if you drove from the outside of Kaiser to the other side of South Salem.
Right.
People in Oregon be like, it's because I'm now like that. I'm like, that's a
just
whole.
so far.
Yeah.
You might as well say it's an hour.
Oh my god.
Like, you might.
And see, it's got
I'm about to just round it. I'm like 30 minutes. Not really. But like,
Too much. Too much.
I'm not kidding, but that's how it is now. It used to be like when I like lived in Houston and Austin, I'd be like, oh, like okay, hour and a half. Bet
Easy.
I'll make
Cook.
it.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, how far am I going?
Shoot.
You're not wrong. There's one street in Kaiser, the River Road, that I'm like,
geez,
I gotta
dude.
avoid that at 4:30 to 5:30. That's like 1 hour, right?
You're
1 hour I gotta
stuck.
avoid the street, and then after that, I'm like, we clear? So I get it now. We getting old.
Well, like I do agree with you for Albany because there's a lot of places that are like events. Like First Taste moved to Albany.
Yeah. And they got their mall too. I guess they redid. I haven't been in it, but they redid their mall. And that's the thing too. Is I always gauge is like, if the city's got a mall, then it's big enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I grew up in Mountain Home, Idaho. It was like the size of South Salem, maybe even less, and there was nothing. So I was actually just talking to someone about that earlier today. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Albany, like, they still have a fairgrounds, they have events, and because it's cheaper, like it's basically Salem but for cheaper.
Right.
South Salem.
Yeah, exactly. South Salem.
You gotta add another South because Turner is actually more
no,
expensive.
Turner, true, yeah.
Turner's nice. Turner Jefferson area, but if you like living out in the country, that's fine. But Turner, there's some parts of Turner that are pretty expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I ain't moving. I just wanted to know
Yes, you are.
for the other people who are interested in moving. If you're listening to us outside the Willamette Valley, you want to move into this area, you got some spaces to go to. Dope. Marketing has been one of the areas that you also been really good at. I know we jokingly talked about you popping out of trees on your social media, but I believe you mentioned that you're doing some marketing support for small businesses. How did you get into doing something like that?
Yeah, so like it's like one of those things. It's just like you start exploring your gifts. Like, so I went back to Dutch Roses last summer because I kind of had to just, hop off my humble horse real quick. Be like, all right, we don't got no money, so we can go get a job, or we can just, pretend everything's fine and slowly die on the inside. I was like, I'll just get a job. It's fine. I'll go back to Dutch, So I went back to Dutch for the weekends, and I think it was really good refresher. Just it kind of really grounds you when you go back to a job. It makes you realize like really how far you have come and the flexibility you've been able to create for yourself. But also you get that really like raw experience from customers and stuff. And so it makes you honestly build up your personable skills a lot more. And so I kind of took the approach, was like, okay, like if I'm going to go back, I'm going to get the most out of this. Like I'm going to network this whole line. And honestly, I'm probably getting leads off that line. Like, I'm not going to lie. But I think after I was there for about 6 months and I was like, okay, I'm starting to get comfortable. Like I need to push myself outside my comfort zone. I was like, I'm already doing real estate, like that's already, but I was like, but I feel myself slipping back into like, well, life's balance. I make money on the weekends. I do my 9 to 5, but nothing, I was starting to plateau. And so I was just like, okay, like, well, what can I do that's actually like consistent with real estate that's not going to be a complete pivot? Because I have a bad habit of that. I was like, oh, if I just want to do something, I'll do it, even if it has no correlation to what I'm doing. So I'm burning the candlestick at both ends. And so I was like, I really, it's rough. It's rough. But I was like, no, we got to be smart, okay? Like let's really think about this. And so my friend, like, he was like, you're really good at social media. Like, what if you just do social media for other businesses? I was like, yeah, but like, I don't have a degree. I barely got like 1,200 followers. I was like, that's not a lot of credibility. And so in my mind, I always thought, I was like, well, they're going to want credibility. Like they're going to want something to be like, okay, you're not just talking out your butt. Like, you can do this. And so I was talking to my buddy. He owns the First Round Boba and Crepes. Shout out if y'all ain't in there, bro. It's here. But he was just like, like, can you help me with my social media, and so I started helping with that, and it slowly turned into like, can you help me with some of this other stuff? And part of me was like, dude, I'm not a marketer. And I remember I told him that. He's like, no, I know you're not a marketer. But then, I went home that night and I was like, you know what, like, why can't I be? Like, what's the difference between someone who does marketing and someone who doesn't? I'm basically doing that. Yeah, that's fun. And so my buddy over at Brands and Logos, Johnny, was like, yo, dude, like, there's a marketing Google certification you can get. Like, he's like, if you can help people rank their business on the #1 search site in the world, he's like, nobody's going to care if you don't got a degree. So I just, pedal to the metal, got into learning that. And that honestly opened my eyes so much more into what marketing is. It's not taking pictures. It's not just posting on Instagram. It's like there's an entire world that you need to understand. And so it was kind of like fascinating because I feel like for my ADHD, it's like I always am just like intrigued with learning. I love learning. And so it's like I feel like you get to a certain point in business where it's like I don't know everything, but I kind of know the systems. I know how it works. And this kind of forced me to really create some like new neural pathways. I was like, dang, dude, I don't even know how to do data collection. How do you take data? How do you tell a story? I was like, yo, this is crazy right now. But I was about it. So I was staying up to like 2, 3 a.m. just going through this course. Yeah. And I think that really, once I had realized how easy it was for me to get off my regular 9 to 5, doing whatever I was doing, go home and still be excited to hop on and learn marketing. I was like, dude, I think marketing is like where I'm gonna like, what's it called? Lost of work, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was like, okay, so I'll do that. So I started using those strategies at the same time that I was learning the marketing stuff. So it's like one night I would learn SEO. I'm like, okay, dude, this is what we're going to implement exactly. That's crazy. And so it was just like, literally, like, I feel like I was taking 2 steps forward at a time. Like, okay, I'm learning this, we're implementing this. Yeah. And so then it just started picking up, and it was crazy because it was like I was actually seeing a difference in some of the things. I was like, oh, dude, it's working. Like, this stuff is working. And so then one of my friends was like, hey, like, I know you do marketing for this, for the boba shop over here. Do you want to maybe help out with like the Best Bite? It's the food truck part. Yeah. And they're like, they need help like bad. So like, could you help? And I was like, yeah, like I could be like at a video or 2. And then that also started to be like, okay, let's start with social media. Let's see how it goes. Cause I was nervous that like, what if I'm taking on too much? Cause like I have a really bad habit of just stacking my plate. And I was like, okay, like I'm only going to do Instagram for y'all. Like I will help help you where you need, but like I'm already doing marketing here.
Yeah.
And then it just started like picking up more, and I was just like, you know, like I'm so in love with marketing. I was like, I can't say no. Like I love being able to just drive traction and make something small big, you know. And so then I was like, okay, I'll help you with like the marketing. And so then I just have been thinking like these last couple like months, actually, that's where I was thinking about keys and clarity. I was like, well, I can't just like ditch this entire thing I just made. And so that's where my buddy Johnny was like, well, if you're so good at marketing, why don't you pivot and turn keys and clarity into a marketing tool for agents who want to reach first-time home buyers? He's like, and that's kind of already what I was thinking, was like, how do I turn this into something that's not me? Because right now it's basically riding on my shoulders, and so I need to figure out, and that's where it kind of all just started like coming together. It was like, okay, this is how you're going to leverage marketing, what you want to help with the real estate, and how you're going to continue to do like these things you enjoy. And so now it's just kind of like crazy how like you go through all these things. And I was just saying earlier, like when I was driving, I was like, dang, like low-key, I think I don't got the money to prove it, but I was like, dude, I made it, bro. Like I'm 25. I was like, I'm doing what I love. I build my schedule. Like I got time to see my friends, family, and like I'm in something that I actually enjoy. Yeah. I was like, that's like the true definition of making it. And so it just was like crazy to think you go through all these loops in life to end up like exactly where you need to be.
Like, I know. It's true though.
It's true.
It is. I'm like, he puts you through certain things so you can get to where you need to go. You might not like it, but
yeah, no, exactly.
Moving to Oregon was not my plan.
And yet we're still here.
I know.
We're still here. Look. No, that's dope. I'm gonna ask you a hypothetical in a moment.
Yeah.
But I do like, as you just closed with that, of just like, there are a lot of links, there are a lot of areas where you don't know what rabbit hole is going to take you down, but eventually once you pop up, you find that it connects to the next thing, right? Influences what you are currently doing, or even accelerates what you're currently doing in a phenomenal way. And again, as you've constantly articulated, is bigger than you. It's not just how do you platform yourself, but how do you platform others with the skills and resources that you have acquired and developed and grown through as natural or been learning at 2 a.m. to do. So that's pretty dope. So you got this new podcast, right? Some friends come to you and say, hey, I want to make this podcast, but I don't know how to market this podcast. I don't know what to do. What would you say are the three goals or 3 things to do, or even unconventional ways that you would want to say, hey, this is what you should do to help kind of produce your podcast or market your podcast?
Yeah. Well, I think like step 1 I asked is like, what's your goal? Like, you just yapping to yap, or are you like trying to spread a message, or are you trying to draw awareness to something? And I think that's really important, because it's like, what I've learned from my own experience is marketing sometimes feels like a lot of stabbing in the dark if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do have a plan, then it's like it takes away the veil. You're like, oh, I know exactly where I'm going. It doesn't even matter all this other stuff. So I think figuring out what your goal is first, and then 2, which is a little more unconventional, but I would like go get on like 4 or 5 podcasts. Go see the way that they set themselves up at the beginning, during, after, how do they reach out to get people on their podcast, kind of do a little bit of field research. And I think the best way to do that is to just go immerse yourself as much as you can. So it's like, find a way on. Doesn't even matter if the podcasts are around what you're trying to build, but just get a very wide experience of what you're trying to do. And then I think after that kind of narrows down, like, okay, I know the setup we want to have. I know the flow we want to create. And I already got the goal, what we're going to do with the podcast. And then from there, I think it's just building connections. Make a list of connections that their audience directly correlates with your audience, and figure out, how do I get those people on my podcast, or how do I get those people talking about my podcast? And that could either be, I think influencer marketing is huge, but I think people do it in a lot of, like, maybe not the right way, I would say, because a lot of people think it's like, let me just get this person to be on my thing, right? But I think influencer marketing could be a lot more of, how do I get this person to build something with me? Because when you build something with an influencer, you get instant credibility, because it's like they've already got the trust of the community you're trying to get. Now you just need to get on their good side so that they can be tight with you too. And that's what I've done, honestly, is I think a lot of people see other influencers or other people doing the same thing. They see them as threats, right? Like, oh, that's my competition. But somebody told me this a long time ago, is like, it's better to be co-competitive than competitive, because in co-competitive you can grow together. And so I just was like, well, if I'm friends with all the people in the community that are doing things that I want to do, then ultimately I'm gonna learn the fastest. And so that's why I kind of is like how you get on that express train. And so I think if you're gonna build anything, it's like literally step one, get your goal, what do you want, and then step two, do some field research. You got to know what you're doing before you even do it, and then find some of those people in the community that either have pull or are just doing something that you correlate with or it resonates with you. It doesn't even matter. They don't even have to be big. They could be just people that have a really strong message, because the thing is, like, not necessarily people with the big audiences are the ones with the most community pull. Like, you would think that, but sometimes it's the smallest audiences with the loudest voices that end up making the community shake and move, you know? And so I would say that's kind of what I would do.
That's legit.
I think that was like behind the Willamette Block Party, was that it was developing, I guess, like a network of people, especially for like the community for people of color. I think that is like a big thing for us, especially like us not being like Oregonians. And then also, like, we know that there's a community out there, but we're kind of still separated to some, degree. And I think it's just like, it's harder in Oregon and the Pacific Northwest, I think in general, for us to kind of all come together and collaborate. And I know for me, like, personally, I get nervous when it comes to certain things, or like what you said, like reaching out to like other podcasts and stuff, because I'm like, okay, they don't want to hear my story. They don't want to hear like the brown girl who moved here. Like, they don't want to hear that. Like, that doesn't resonate with their audience. And so I know for me personally, that was always a fear. Even whenever I got my real estate license, I was like, is this going to work? Like, would it work? Will people actually use me? They'll hear my voice and be like, okay, but then see me and be like, I don't know if this is going to work anymore. So I know for me, that is a really big thing, because again, I love marketing too and everything, but I think that will always be, and still is, a big thing that I know I'm personally working on, of overcoming, I guess, like that fear of the rejection because of stuff like that, because Oregon is behind about a good couple of years on some stuff. So
absolutely. And I think that is a big thing, and I think something that's really stuck with me. I used to like watch a lot of podcasts. It kind of just, I was in this mindset of like, if I could just fill my head with knowledge, experience, which soon enough you realize like the self-help books don't really do anything unless you do anything. And so a lot of it was, someone had said this was like the if not you then who. And it's like a lot of times I would sit here and think that to myself, was like, okay, if I'm not going to pursue it, then somebody else is. If it's not going to be me, then maybe nobody else will, and maybe it'll just be a dead dream on the shelf. And I think that's kind of what pushed me over the edge of a lot of the fear that I've had. Was like, I would rather be the person that did it than the one who wish I had.
That's dope. I think you made a few comments, and I would love for you to tie in the Best Bites, because you just did an event. Actually, let's just start there. You just did an event recently with Best Bites. Tell us a little bit about what that experience was.
So the Best Bite is actually owned by Ray. He owns Ray's Produce and Rest to Go, which is like the food packaging. And so he really wants to get involved with the community, and I think he's always had a heart to do that. But it just wasn't like what do we do? Like, how do we get people into the food park? And I think a big thing, obviously, with all like the ICE stuff going on in the Latino community, people they don't want to go out. They don't have that trust. They're like, it's not worth it. No $15 meal is worth it. And so we really just wanted to establish that the Best Buy is a safe place. It's private property. Legally, they can't go on there. And so trying to establish that it's a safe place for everybody. So they gave out, originally it was 100 free meals in support of Thanksgiving, because it's hard around the holidays. Is the hardest time of the year for so many families. And then on top of that, with all the things that happened with SNAP, it was like there's no better time to give out this free food. And so we started with 100, but then we sold out 100 in like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was crazy. So then he left and came back, was like, let's do 50 more. So then we ended up giving out 150 free meals to the community, and really just wanted to let the community know, like, hey, like when you come here, you're safe. They renovated the inside of the warehouse to where now it's a seating area, and it's still got like a lot of projects we're working on to make it really prime and ready to shine. But it really is just wanting to establish that like you have a safe space in here, even if it feels like you don't. And I know a lot of the food trucks feel the same, and that's why as a collective it was like, how do we bring something to the community that not only builds trust but is actually leaving an impact?
That's dope.
That's amazing.
God, 150 meals, man, that's legit. That's really legit.
Well, is there anything that we can do to help them, I guess, or any shout out or anything that we can kind of post? Obviously, let us know. We want people to kind of know about that specifically because, you know, of what they're doing. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, they're always looking for, I think they got 5 open food trucks right now, spots, and they agreed they're going to give away rent for the first month because it's slow. They know it's, you know, hard, and the park is up and coming, and so kind of have the expectations a little hard to be like, yo, fork over rent. You might not even make that back in being a month. So I think if there's ever any people looking for a spot, and then 2 is just trying new cuisine and bringing out I don't know, just getting it out there. I think that's really, I've noticed, at least with marketing in Salem, is that the word of mouth spreads like wildfire here, more so than even the paid marketing that people do. And so I think it's just the more people that can talk about how amazing of a space it is. And honestly, it's like probably some of the best food I've had in the valley. Like there's a Don's Grill, dude, he's got this crazy like signature sauce. I don't even know what it is, but I swear I have never had anything like it. It's so good.
It's not spicy?
It's not. It's like pickle something. I don't know. It's good though. It's good.
I mean, no pepper.
There's spicy stuff there if you like that. But nah, I mean, I wouldn't know because I don't eat spicy.
He's like, nah, that's not for me.
He says spice level 0 pepper. What is it?
I will say that's what's funny with marketing is, you know, places will reach out to you to try their stuff, and so it's like I can't say no because like I'm gonna not be rude, be like, oh, I don't like spicy stuff.
It's like you just bring your fiance.
No, literally. Yeah. So there's some times where I'm like, I'll just throw myself in the pit of fire. I was like, this is for you.
You know, 2026 is going to be a new year, man. You're going to have a new palate, a new taste.
That's true.
Just burning all the taste buds.
All the videos are just going to be him sweating.
Just dude, all the invites.
If you have any spice, please reach out to ours. He would love.
I'm dead.
Literally, that's gonna be it.
That's it. I know. Nah, I said it. That's all everyone's gonna say.
Spice it up with Arjay.
Spice level. And
hey, if it puts the city on the map,
there we go.
You know.
Hey, that'd be a cool pull up though. Like we just pull up with him and he just tries all the food at his food trucks.
Just be like, can we just?
Yeah.
Can we?
Spice level 5.
It up. Spice level 5 already.
There goes the new podcast, bro. Spice level 5.
Spice level 5. Hey, look, don't tip me with a good time. We'll figure it out. Oh man, oh shoot. There was a question I had. Okay, so you've mentioned a few communities that you're a part of, that are engaged with, and already looking to build that engagement. Where would you say, or what would you say, like who is either not highlighted or who's missing in our community that we need to put a little bit more emphasis on and say, you know what, we out here, or these are in my work, in my marketing, and the ways that I'm building relationships in around the Willamette Valley. I would love to put more emphasis in this particular community.
Absolutely.
So you thinking like community, not like business specific, or what do you think?
It could be. It could be a business. It could be a person, like someone who's just, you've seen, like you kind of just did, where it's like who's doing a lot in the community but isn't getting probably the recognition. I think that's a big thing that we like to shine a light on people, where it's like they're doing a lot but people have not heard of. You know, in the community, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like, because I work so closely with Best Buy and the boba shop, like, because they like a lot of stuff they do resonates with me. I'd say even just those 2 spots, obviously, like my efforts alone are doing the best I can. But I mean, you have Best Buy representing the Latino community, trying to build that safe space. And then the first round, we've pivoted. We've realized a lot of their audience is kids, and so building a safe space for kids to come. we got coloring pages now, and I think we're working on building out some other things. But I think a lot of, especially since COVID, it's hard to meet up when you're a parent. And so building a space where it's not only can your kid feel comfortable for you to hang out and have a conversation, but to actually feel like there's a place where they look forward to going. Because I think especially now, 2025, like a lot of the third spaces for kids have just disappeared. They're gone. There's teenagers, there's nothing. Expensive. And so it's like when you're a kid, it's like you used to look forward to going to so many places. And so I think what they're trying to do is awesome. And we just did, or we're still doing, because at the end of November, they're doing food drives. So they give out free drink if you bring canned food. Nice. Cool. Trying to help feed the people through Marion Polk. And so they, over at First Round, they're always trying to do something that impacts community. We did we gave away, we'd had a ping pong contest, and the prize was up to $1,000, so it was based off your score. But they just gave out big checks to these kids who got the highest scores. Yeah. And so it's just finding ways to, highlight them. And then I think, with Best Buy, it's just like they're obviously give out 150 free meals. Like, that's a lot. You tally it up.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I think it's just, again, more recognition for the spaces and the people in the area that you just don't hear much about. Because I do think there's been a repetitiveness in like the Salem Kaiser area of the same people who are still doing amazing things. I don't ever want to like discredit what they're doing or anything, but it is one of those like that we've hit a little bit of a wall of celebrating kind of the same people all over again, instead of like reaching out to be like, okay, who else has actually been doing stuff. Like, it's easy to select and pick for someone who's doing it within like your area and your life and stuff. It's easier too, but just shining a light on people who are doing some amazing things.
Absolutely.
And it sounds as if there's some food cart spots open, right? So Allie and her food cart joint that you about to start up.
Hey.
Sir, no. I don't cook like that.
Well, you could.
You could.
First month free.
Stop.
Somebody out there got to cook something.
Well, that's Katie. That's not me.
Oh, damn.
Katie would love, honestly, really? Katie loves to cook like that. I can cater and I can host a mean party, but will you ever see me? No. I'm like, absolutely not. No, it's not my love language. I'm not gonna like, if anything, I'm just gonna be like, how can I like help, or how can I do stuff? Feeding people is not my love language. Okay.
That's all right.
I'll be like, does it taste good?
Oh, dang. Is it spicy? Is it level 5?
You have to understand. Like, I was used to just doing like, okay, rice, ground beef, and like hot sauce, and like that was a staple, because I'm like, it's easy, it's simple, it's clean, cool. Okay. I know how to cook.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
You just don't want to for others.
I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
It stresses me out, actually.
That's real though.
Yeah.
That's real though.
Yeah.
I do be looking at people after I cook something. I'll be like, did you like that?
Exactly. The anxiety behind it.
Yeah. I'm like, come on now. I want to make sure that it's good.
Because if they 1 second if you don't say it, like, if you say it too fast, something's wrong. If you say it a little too late, something's wrong. But, so what's your fiance's name?
Her name's Raquel.
Raquel.
Shout out to Raquel.
So you guys have been together?
Yeah, since 2020 actually. So we met right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and we ended up having to quarantine a little bit, and that's kind of, I think, what sealed the deal. I was like, yo, we locked in here, so we gonna make something work. I don't know. It's gonna be a real awkward for the next.
That's the way to do it.
Yes.
So, do you like me?
Yeah,
so. You in that corner and I'm in this corner.
No, for real. No, yeah, and then we got engaged in 2024 as we flew out to San Antonio because her family's from there. And so we went to Towers America, got proposed at the top there, and awesome. So we're going to get married next September is the hope.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me know if you need a wedding planner.
Hey, honestly,
don't let her cook though.
I love planning that kind of stuff.
You are a planner.
It's insane.
I love it. It's so much fun. And then just the love, and then the happiness.
She love.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like
that's awesome.
Celebrate it.
That's awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So future plans other than like obviously the wedding. Honeymoon planned?
I mean, I'm hoping like to make enough money. That's the goal. I always want to go to Greece, and so she'd been to Italy and Spain. I think her sister went, but I've never been over to Europe at all. And so Greece was always on the list. But it's like I looked, I was like, this ain't even that expensive. So
it's really not.
It's not. So
just do that for your wedding gifts. Honestly, just be like, go
money,
ahead, Venmo,
bro.
Contribute.
But actually, don't Venmo because you might get taxed depending on how
Dude,
much you get.
Ain't that crazy?
Do it like so. Already have not necessarily book the flight, but you can do it in a way where it's paying towards it directly.
Yeah.
So it's more of like overall, it's a gift.
Mm-hmm. We're not tax professionals, by the way. So
we are also not tax professionals, but
professionals.
also ask your account about it.
Yeah.
But
There's loopholes.
I know. I'm like, no, you can do this. Well, Allie said,
oh, snap.
That's what I attempt. Time.
Wow. On that note.
Anyway, Greece would be fun.
Yeah.
That would fit. That fit your palate.
Congratulations on that. That's really great.
Thank you.
That's a big deal. So last question. Knowing all the work that you've been doing, continue to do in the Willamette Valley, appreciate you being here, appreciate you staying here and finding ways to uplift those around you to make it bigger than yourself. If you were to articulate maybe a word of advice or a word of wisdom, maybe even to your 18-year-old self when you first started in this journey, or somebody who's getting into your industry or being into Salem or the Willamette Valley, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things is that it always works out. You know, as hard as you try to, you know, fight against whatever nature life has for you, like, it will always work out. I mean, I think about all the things I've been through and all the different detours and stuff to land me here. Like, it's still worked out, you know? And it may not work out in the time that you want it to, but, I mean, that's the whole point of life, is that you don't know what the journey holds for you, and that I think you just really got to look deeper than the surface. You know, if it's not working out, is there a lesson to be learned here? And I think for me, there was a lot of times where it was like I was just repeating the same lesson over and over again because I wasn't looking for the lesson. I was just repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So
that's good. That's good. As xinyourface.com would say, gang.
I'm dead.
Oh, I know. Shout out to X. We miss you.
Miss you, X. Yeah, X is our third co-host of the show. He's a lot of the technical and the brains and the comedic relief that we bring to the show. So I'm trying to be that, and I don't know.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Shout out to you.
A-.
A-. Anyway, no, that's dope. Thank you for that advice. That's good.
Yes,
that's
sir.
good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate it. If you are looking for a place to rent a food truck or anything like that, reach out to Arjay. We'll have his information listed below. But thank you so much for joining us on the Willamette Block Party.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
As a reminder, we are here to highlight all things Black within the Willamette Valley. So if you have news, updates, highlights, concerns, or if you want to be a part of what we're building, please reach out to us at willametteblockparty@gmail.com and stay engaged with our journey by following @WillametteBlockParty on Instagram. Until next time, we out here. Peace.